Give me a second. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, hang on. Hang on, people. It's me. There we go. Hang on. Where am I? Where's my thing? Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Here we go. Only took me what? 45 seconds to figure it out. You're sitting there and you're trying to hit a button and it's over and then it's not. So, yeah, welcome to SOT and the shenanigans and buffoonery, and otherwise known as morning decream. Jeez, morning, evening. I'll get this figured out sooner or later. It's different rooms and different studios and different things, and so, yeah, sooner or later I will figure it out. And at that point, who knows what's possible? All right. Tonight it is the standard amount of buffoonery shenanigans, checking everything overseas and getting you ready for the midweek and the week that will be and all those kinds of things. We do have picks of the week in hour number 2. And Jarrett submitted his. I submitted mine. We'll go through what happened last week. The folks in the Discord, they posted their numbers, and they're doing far better than either me or Jarrett. And it was a shootout, apparently. And I take full credit for blowing up the tiebreaker because of the wording that I had at the end of the show last week about which particular competition it was supposed to be that was involved in the tiebreaker scenario. So, so that was the edit name and title. Jeez Louise, I don't have a title of Madison Cruz. So there. So that's where we are. And so we'll go through everything Europe wise. Real Madrid had a bit of a boo boo today, and VAR and officiating had a larger boo boo that was not looked at. And so we'll get into the situation with Spurs, and we'll talk about the Premier League to kind of start things off. And just let you know, remember, it's a midweek. So if you have a fantasy team like me, figure it out and square it away, because God knows when we'll have the chance to fix our fantasy teams if we don't do it now. So hang on just a second. I think that'll work. All right. So that's the rundown. We're going to take a look at Europe, take a look at what happened at Old Firm, which was another round of shenanigans. And it looked like Martin O'Neill at the age of 74 was more than happy to play peacemaker and try to get between folks and try to sit there and stare and go, you guys don't want to take swings at one another. We'll look at the title race there. We'll look at what's going on in England. We'll look at what's going on in all the other leagues. And we'll take a peek at what's going on in South America, let you know what's going on in Argentina and Libertadores, and get you ready for Nino Torres' visit on Thursday. And we'll go through the group stage qualifiers. And if you do not have the opportunity, if you have not had the opportunity to look at what is going on with Libertadores, if you miss it here, you can always catch up with our friend Howard Hamilton, who's the head of Soccer Metrics, and listen to the Soccer Metrics Couple Libertadores show that airs here on the network when there are matches to be played and matches to see what's going on. So if you're into Libertadores, you can catch up with Howard and how he does things on a competition by the week basis. Sometimes he'll have more than one Libertadores show in a week. But it was crazy to think about it. When I posted the Libertadores show the other day, he has done 90 of those shows. I mean, he's behind Bart Keeler's pace, don't get me wrong. But the fact that Howard came to us one day, and I think it was at one of the joints at the Battery when we were all getting together. And Howard went up to Jason and was like, hey, can I do a show? Much like when Bart was interested in putting a show on the network, and it was something that hasn't been done in the U.S., still isn't being done in the U.S. And for Howard and for us, we're blessed to have him take care of that particular element of the soccer over their part. So if you're into Libertadores, listen to Howard's show. And Monday nights we'll talk about it and all the other things going on around. So we'll take it basically a continent at a time, and we'll start with England, and we'll work our way to South America, come back, and then at 9 o'clock, we'll get into picks of the week because, like I said, I have the grid right here, and there's a lot of X's and crosses and losses in here on it. So there you go. There's your focus on a lot of really bad handiwork from the week that was. So that is the rundown of the show. today. One note that happened in the Twitters before we started here, and I guess technically this would be an opening kickoff kind of a thing, presented by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com, if there was such a thing as an opening kickoff for soccer over there. Yuya Kubo's hanging him up. And I say that for Jarrett's benefit because it was crazy that, and we had wondered why no one had picked up Yuya Kubo in the offseason in Major League Soccer. And now we kind of know why. So, we're in the match week 2. No one's knocked on his door. And so he's kind of like, well, yep, we're done. And there you go. So Yuya Kubo's, he's hung up his boots. And so next time that Jarrett is healthy enough to come wandering in, we will discuss. And we will discuss the future of what's going on with Yuya Kubo and all of the things that are going on there. But as promised, we'll start in England, and articles are out about how bad it is right now at Spurs. Igor Tudor has said, I might get sacked, and that'd be the fourth firing. That'll be the fourth coach this year. So it's been Ange, then it was caretaker. No, it was Thomas Frank. Then it was caretaker. Then it was Ange. Then it was caretaker. Then it was Igor Tudor. And then, that's where we are now. Literally, it is to that point. It is 4 managers in a year. And it ain't good. So you have gone through all of this with Spurs right now. And article came out in The Guardian where if things go bad, like relegated bad, like the first time in almost 50 years, Igor Tudor has basically said, then it was, he was beside himself, I think. Post-match after the loss to Fulham, spoke of big problems. Someone asked him a question about formation, and he just kind of blew through that. So, attack lacking quality, midfield that cannot run, a defense not prepared to suffer to keep goals out, made fairly explicit that he thinks his players lack the requisite character, and pointed out how Fulham were better at reading the game, accusing his players of lacking brain. Basically, Tudor had said that they were like a half step slow, and Fulham knew where everything was going, and they had anticipated everything. And right now, Tottenham have just won 2 of their last 19 since they beat Everton back in October. Half a season, 12 points. Haven't won in 10, lost their last 4, 5 points worse off than they were after 28 matches last year. But you already knew who was getting relegated at this point last season. And so right now, you are the defending Europa League champ. Remember Ange Postecoglou? Remember that? You're like, yeah, but now you're going 4th in the Champions League phase. And so one of 5 clubs started the Premier League in 92. Injuries, and this is what I did not know about Spurs and how bad it was. Current injuries: Jed Spence, Destiny Udogie, Ben Davies, Rodrigo Betancourt, Lucas Bergvall, Mohamed Kudus, Delan Kulishevsky, James Madison, Wilson Odobert. Christian Romero is serving the 4-match suspension for the red card he got against Manchester United. Solanke and Radu Dragoshin are fit, but they've missed large chunks of the year. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out on injury, 1 on a 4-match suspension, 2 coming back from injury. So it's like 12 dudes. And you really didn't spend a whole lot of money in piecing this thing together. And then when you did, it was in places that you now have folks that are injured, like, Dominic Solanke. And you're now trying to figure out how to get out of that mess. So if Spurs go down worse than the relegation in 1977, it was reported, or at least in the op-ed piece that was produced by Jonathan Wilson over at The Guardian, it would be worse and more shocking than Manchester United in 1974. So you're looking at this being a very real possibility right now. We'll go over the standings in a sec. But surprising no one, and like I said, this is what has stunned me this entire time. that still, you do not have a sponsor for that stadium. How do you not have a sponsor for that stadium? That is beyond me. Legitimately. How do you not have a sponsor for that place? You build a new barn like that, I would think walking in that you would have had a sponsor. But no, and you've been fighting it the entire time. Seriously. How do you not have a sponsor for that place? Tottenham's actual chances of relegation a couple of weeks ago were at 3 1/3%. And this was 2 matches ago. 36 points available. So then if you were to go down, this was pieced together by Elias Burke over at The Athletic. So who would leave? And this is, dudes that would not want to have any interest in sticking around in the championship. Vicario, Porro, Udogi, Van de Ven, Romero, Danso, and Jed Spence probably would get new homes. And you probably could get some money back for them or have them out on loan. Conor Gallagher was courted by Villa, moved to Spurs. Obviously, he'll want to continue playing in a Premier League level. Betancourt signed a long-term deal, and it was part of Thomas Frank coming in. Underwent hamstring surgery in January. Forwards, Solanke, Hudus, Madison, Kulishevsky, Xavi Simon, Richarlison. They're not going to want to hang around. But then you look at who might be able to have a decent playing time, who could thrive in that situation. A lot of it was pointed at Wilson Odobert as a France U21. You could build something with Mikey Moore. Archie Gray was also put in there, Popsar and Lucas Bergvall. Antonin Kinski probably would be your starter in net. You could have some U18s that would be a part of the deal. But right now, and this was part of the economics that was broken down of it, Spurs have one of the most expensive season tickets in the Premier League. And you don't have a sponsor for your stadium, but you have one of the most expensive season tickets in the Premier League. One seat that does not include domestic cup or Champions League matches, anywhere from $2,900 down to $1,150. If you want to get in the barn for 19 matches, it literally is, $1,159 base. So what's 19? So it's a 40, like high 40s in pounds. So that's probably what, like $60 a match to get in the door, just to get into Spurs Stadium. They've won twice, lost 7 in 13 matches. Spurs decided to freeze their season ticket prices for next year after consulting with fan groups. Cheapest adult season ticket for a team of this import that was sent down and they looked at Villa of the big dogs, from $322 to $595. And then, of course, they, jacked up the rates 10% when they made it back to the Prem, and they yo-yoed back in the next year. So you're looking at teams going down. They rescinded a little bit, but then they go back up 15% or so. So that's what you're kind of staring at when it looks to ticket prices anyway. 9th wealthiest team in the world game, according to Deloitte. Revenue of €673 million. 88 million more euro than the next richest, Chelsea, getting into the round of 16 in Champions League. Obviously, that revenue is going to increase. No club in the Premier League era, according to our friends at The Athletic, who pieced this together. And this was, once again, our friend Elias Burke. No one in the Premier League era have recorded more than £200 million in single-season revenue and gone down. Wage bill would be ridiculous, but once again, you're looking at, a lot of folks leaving. You see what Spurs Stadium is able to do when it comes to hosting other events. The rights deal for UK through NBC, to give you an example, $2 billion a year through 28. EFL's deal, 935 million pounds over 5 years. You're going to get the parachute payments. Sponsorship deals. And this was the killer right here. Current deal with AIA expires at the end of next year. Industry sources told Burke that if the club were thinking of looking for alternatives, which would become the club's training kit partner from 27 to 32. Reduced global audience in the championship, Spurs would likely renegotiate deals with other existing partners or secure new short-term sponsorships. Mike Jackson, chief exec of Elite Sports Marketing, said there may not be a relegation clause in their front-of-shirt contract with AIA. Burnley or even Coventry City will have relegation and promotion clauses. AIA may not have that clause because it never would have been a consideration that Tottenham would have been relegated, according to Jackson. Conversations probably happening as we speak. Spurs will understand that AIA will not pay a Premier League rate, which is supposed to be about £40 million a year, for a championship club, because you're not going to get the same kind of audience. You might have to just move the decimal place, literally a 90% discount. It'd be probably £4 or £5 million if that was to happen. Just knock off 90%. If you can't reach an agreement, you could explore the market for a one-year deal, assuming that you are confident you would bounce back. Then you have the iFollow subscription service for those of us that have our favorite clubs that are lower division in England. Game-to-game basis would be about the same. Service is priced at £180 for all 46 of a championship sides league matches. And then once again, everything short of the 10 o'clock Saturday morning window is available on Sky. If you're over here, you could watch it all on Paramount Plus. So it would really absolutely just punch them right in the neck when it came to all the finances. But where are things right now? Into the standings after what happened. Let's go over what happened this past weekend. We'll go backward to get you ready because we do have stuff in the midweek. We'll go over that here in a second. On Friday night football was your first big win for Wolves. They won 2-0 at a plus 390. Bournemouth and Sunderland drew at 1. Everton beat Newcastle 3-2. One of the crazier matches of the weekend. Everton at Newcastle was a plus 350. Liverpool had a big lead. West Ham came storming back. Liverpool put the pedal down. And Arne Slot has said that he doesn't enjoy watching other Premier League games. But Liverpool hung on to win at a minus 238 at 5-2. So let me check this real quick. There are two matches back-to-back that we could get into at a plus 6.5. So the over-under of 6.5 with Liverpool and West Ham. Any precedent for a team who's qualified for the World Cup to not participate? We'll look into that because I know where you're going. We've got to keep an eye on that too. Over-under of 6.5 was a plus 1,200 for Liverpool and West Ham for 6.5. So you got to keep an eye out for those kind of bargains. And then the crazier game of the weekend was Burnley and Brentford. Brentford had a big lead. Burnley comes all the way back. Brentford scores to go up ahead 4-3. Harvey Barnes thinks he scored to make it 4-4. We could have gotten into this with Bart this morning on Calls and Cards, but the eventual what they thought was going to be the game-tying goal at Turf Moor was called back by VAR, and then Brentford goes on to win it 4-3. So, what was 6.5 at Burnley and Brentford? Was it more than a plus 1,200? The answer, yes, at plus 2,000, because traditionally we're not used to seeing Burnley score a whole lot of goals. Brentford wins at a minus 130, but if you'd had the parlay of over 6.5, you would have been very rich. Manchester City, goal on the board, beat Leeds 1-0. Erling Haaland did not play at a minus 137. Keep an eye on that for your fantasy teams. And I also cannot remember the last time, speaking of matches, that all the games on a particular competition day ended with the same score. Manchester United over Crystal Palace, Fulham over Spurs, Brighton over Forest, Arsenal over Chelsea, all were 2-1. If you had that parlay, that's crazy. I want to know who you were hanging out with to get that parlay. So you had those particular matches on the weekend. So one of the standings in the Premier League. Right now, the margin is 5, but Manchester City has a match in hand. Remember, Arsenal had those 2 that they played in the week. So Arsenal If Manchester City keeps form, the margin is 2. But right now it's 5, match in hand for Manchester City and basically everybody else in the Premier League. So 11 matches to go for, or 10 matches to go for Arsenal, or 9 matches, sorry. 9 matches to go for Arsenal. I can't count to 38. So 9 to go for Arsenal, 10 to go for Manchester City. Arsenal, 64 points, 5 points ahead of City, and then it's everybody else. Drew Dickinson's new version of the 3D is up. It talks about Manchester United coming out of the weekend, and you now have a short turnaround, and you have this sprint to get into Europe. So Manchester United right now is 3rd ahead on goal difference over Aston Villa. 5th, the European position, is Liverpool, who's won 4 of 5, and they're at 48 points. Chelsea is 6th, which would be Conference League at the moment. Conference League could go down to 7th, or honestly could be as 8th, depending on who wins what. But right now, for the sake of argument, Conference League spot 6 would go to Chelsea. They're at 45 points, 2 points ahead of Brentford. Then you have the Chase group. Everton ahead of Fulham by 1 goal on goal difference, both at 40 points. Bournemouth is 10th at 39. They're unbeaten in their last 5. 2 wins. Brighton snapped a 2-game losing streak with a 2-game win streak. They're ahead of Sunderland on goal difference. Sunderland has 4 points in their last 5 matches. Win, draw, 3 losses. And the 3-match losing streak was snapped with the draw that happened on the weekend. Newcastle's at 36. They've lost 4 of 5. Crystal Palace is at 35. They've lost 2 of 3. And then that gets you to the relegation scrap. Leeds is at 31. They were unbeaten in 3 before losing to Manchester City on the weekend. They're at 31 points. Spurs has lost 4 in a row. We talked about how dire it has been for Spurs and for Igor Tudor and for Thomas Frank and for Ange and for Nuno over the last 2 seasons. Ange wins Europa League, and then he's let go. Thomas Frank comes in and trying to do what Thomas Frank wants to do with the personnel on hand, plus injuries. They don't want excuses in the front office. They just want results. They weren't getting the results. Thomas Frank goes. Sean Dyche and Igor Tudor. Forest at 27 points. They've lost 3 of 4. And then West Ham is at 25 points. They were unbeaten in 3 before losing last time out. So you have 4 teams separated by 6 points, but West Ham is 2 points and some goals away from safety. Minus 15 goal difference with Forest, minus 20 for West Ham. Burnley's at 19 points. They really could have used a point against Brentford, if not 3. And then Burnley, once again, 19 points. And then Wolves will not be the worst of all time. Right now, 2 wins in 29. They have scored 20 in 29. They've given up 51. But they will not be the worst team of all time in the Premier League era in the 34 years that the league has existed. So that's where you are. So literally you have race at the top, race for Europe, relegation fight. Everybody has, unless you're Wolves or Arsenal, everybody's got 10 matches to go. Like I said, if you want Drew's perspective on Manchester United, you can get that on the 3D. So that leads us into the midweek, where you have things going on. You have 4 matches tomorrow, and you have 5 matches on Wednesday, and you have 1 match on Thursday before the FA Cup weekend kicks in, and that takes center stage, and then they come back once again on the following weekend, 14, 15, 16. So here's tomorrow. Bournemouth and Brentford, middle of the table, nice one. Bournemouth is a plus 150. Brentford is a plus 179. Your draw is a plus 260. Everton at Bramley-Moore Dock, big favorite at home, a minus 169 against Burnley, who's a plus 500. Leeds a minus 108. Hosting Sunderland at plus 340. Draws a plus 250. All those are at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Wolves and Liverpool is at 3:15. Liverpool massive favorite at a minus 204 at the Molineux. Wolves are a plus 550. So then on Wednesday, you've got 4 at 2:30. Villa is a plus 170 hosting Chelsea, who's a plus 154, draws a plus 280. Brighton, big underdog at a plus 440, hosting Arsenal at a minus 154 and draws a plus 309. Fulham is a plus 104, hosting West Ham at a plus 270. Draw is the same. Manchester City hosting Forest. Manchester City a minus 244, hosting Forest, who's a plus 650. Andrew draws a plus 425. Newcastle at 315, plus 160. Manchester United a plus 163. Andrew draws a plus 290. Then on the 5th, which is Thursday, Spurs plus 135 hosting Palace at a plus 210. Your draws a plus 240. So that's your midweek, and then FA Cup, and then we'll take a peek at that. So that's what you're getting into when it comes to England and all of the things and that kind of a discussion there. So Ricky had a question wanting to know, and we'll have to workshop this. So we'll have to think of situations where it might have happened in the past. Is there any precedent for a team who's qualified for the World Cup to not participate? So with that question to the floor, let's workshop it. And we'll check in with, has there ever been a team qualify for the World Cup and not participate? So let's see if there's an answer. Do we have this? No, not in qualifying. No, I don't want a qualifier. Okay, so India Times will go here, obviously, with what's going on. So someone actually did an Instagram post on it. History shows withdrawals have happened before. The most chaotic tournament was 1950 in Brazil. Several nations chose not to enter the qualification. After qualifying, Turkey, Scotland, and India pulled out before the tournament began. The main reasons were high travel costs and player registration problems. FIFA invited Portugal to replace Turkey. Even though Portugal had lost to Spain in qualifying, Portugal declined the offer, saying travel expenses were too high. France also withdrew after qualifying, again because of travel and scheduling concerns. FIFA approached Portugal once more. They refused again. In the end, the tournament went ahead with only 13 teams instead of 16. Can you imagine those conversations? Yeah. Are you sure? Portugal? Are you sure? Are you sure about this? Yeah, are you sure? It's like, nah, fam, we're good. And then FIFA goes away, and they kind of ask some other countries. And then, are you sure? Portugal, are you sure? We come back to ask again. Are you sure, Portugal? Portugal's, yeah, fam, we're good. Yeah, we're good. So here's what else has happened in this, and this is not, and that was not the only one. That was not the only one. So, 1938, obvious reasons. Austria qualified, withdrew after the country was annexed by then Nazi Germany. FIFA did not name a replacement. Sweden, who was Austria's scheduled opponent, advanced directly to the next round. So basically, Sweden ended up getting a bye in 1938. 1934, defending champ Uruguay withdrew after several European teams refused to travel to South America in the FIFA World Cup 1930. 1966, African teams boycotted the qualifying rounds after only one combined spot was given by FIFA for Africa, Oceania, and Asia. And so, obviously, as of right now, Iran is scheduled to compete. One Asian qualifying at 26 points. UAE finished third in the same group, missed out on the playoffs. Iran is set to face Belgium, New Zealand, and Egypt in Group G. Planned matches in Los Angeles and Seattle. Mehdi Taj, and this came out earlier today. Mehdi Taj, the head of Iran's Football Federation, has expressed uncertainty, indicating after the recent attacks, difficult for the country to feel optimistic about participating in the World Cup, according to comments reported to the AP. And so, obviously, there'll be some kind of consultation with FIFA and with Iran's Football Federation to figure out, okay, here's the deal. And I imagine what is going to happen is that they are going to play this in the calendar as long as they can. Henry Bushnell had an article that came out very, very early this morning, our time, before we went on the air. And the U.S. government, according to Bushnell, had already barred Iranian nationals from traveling into the United States, though with an exemption for sports teams. Bushnell obviously says that would restrict Iran's participation. Then the Meditage quote that is attributed to the Associated Press. So if Iran does not participate, options. You can go through the rundown of the qualifiers, and you can see what the teams are in that order. Bushnell, and he goes into Article 6 of FIFA's regulations, addressing cases of non-participation, but Bushnell says, but with little specificity. Regulation 6.5 addresses force majeure, irresistible force, unforeseen event. Quote, if a participating member association withdraws or a match cannot be played or is abandoned as a result of force majeure, the authorized FIFA organizing body, including the Tournament Operations Center, shall decide on the matter at its sole discretion and take whatever action is deemed necessary, end quote. Regulation 6.7. If any participating member association withdraws and or is excluded from FIFA World Cup 26, FIFA shall decide on the matter at its sole discretion and take whatever action is deemed necessary. FIFA may decide to replace the participating member association in question with another association. So Bushnell says that FIFA then would essentially have two broad options, either by choice or force. This is his writing. FIFA could cancel Iran's games, tweak the rules to treat Group G as a three-team group, or it could replace Iran with another nation's team. Finding that replacement complicated by timing, and obviously Bushnell reminds us about, since we're basically a little over 100 days away from competition, unlikely that Iran would have clarity anytime soon. So then you look at replacement teams. Iran qualified, winning Group A. Uzbekistan got another automatic berth. Third and fourth place teams are the UAE and Qatar. They went to a fourth round. Qatar ultimately secured qualification. The UAE lost in a playoff to Iraq, who with that win earned a spot in another playoff, the Intercontinental, which is slated later this month for Mexico, the country of Mexico. Iraq is going to face either Bolivia or Suriname on March 31st in Monterrey. If Iraq wins that playoff, the UAE would presumably be next in line as a potential replacement for Iran. If Iraq loses, then either Iraq or UAE could be chosen. Or FIFA would look outside Asia. It could choose the Intercontinental playoff loser, Bolivia or Suriname. And under FIFA's rules, as we mentioned in Regulation 6.5 and 6.7, pretty much can do whatever it wants. So FIFA can look at it from a couple of different directions. But that's what you're staring at immediately is FIFA has two regulations they could refer to. Force majeure leading into FIFA using their own discretion in their own timetable to figure out, okay, I need a new participating member association, and then they decide who that is, and then we gave you the options as to what road they could go down to determine who it could be if it gets to the point where Iran and Minister Taj feel that participating in the tournament is a non-starter. So that's kind of where we are at the moment with participation, regulations, and what roads can be gone down by FIFA as we continue to watch what's going on in the Middle East. So that's your World Cup date involving who might be, who might be, who could be, and what FIFA could do to determine who would be filling in those spots. So that's that's what you're looking at there. So yes, there is a history of teams not participating for whatever reason. No, we don't want to, or what have you. And then you go from that movement forward. see what it looks like. So it is how do we phrase? It is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, obviously, but we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens there. But yes, Ricky, there is precedent for not competing. Some countries soar at other countries who are hosting, and so you didn't come to ours, so we're not going to come to yours. Then there are some attached to wartime, and then you had teams that were mad about numbers of qualifications and things like that. But yes, obviously we have to keep an eye on the situation involving teams that have qualified so far and where they would fit in the next 100 days or so, or really the next 80, maybe 85, to determine, okay, who's interested? Are you coming? What's the deal? What can be made from a a contingency? What contingencies are there going to be made available? So who's coming? You probably have to fish or cut bait 30 days out. So you've got another 70 in theory, so another 10 weeks. So that way, if you decide to go in another direction, you can give that team that you would be bringing in as Team 48 an opportunity to get together and practice and assume the same travel schedules and those kinds of things. So I would probably say you've got 10 weeks to determine, okay, what's it going to look like, and then go from there. So the next 10 weeks. So we'll have 10 more weeks with anything and everything going on there. So that is your precedent and your food for thought when it comes to the tournament that is coming up here in the spring and the summer. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, something to be kept an eye on for the next little while. You might have missed it this morning, but Weston McKennie's agreed to a contract extension at Juventus into 2030 through the 29 season. And there was a year left on the deal. Juve was like, we better lock him up. And so they did exactly that. So Weston McKennie's done. He's been on a bit of a hot streak recently. So Weston McKennie gets signed into 2030 for Juve. Good news for the men's national team. So obviously, very, very cool stuff there that we're keeping an eye on and looking forward to going on from here. Okay, what happened today? I think we have to go into Spain for this one. And it was a La Liga match where Getafe knocks off Real Madrid 1-0. Second loss in a row. Arbeloa maintained after the match that the title race is not over, losing at the Bernabeu to Getafe. 4 points behind Barcelona. Satriano scored in the first half. Madrid could not convert a number of chances. Getafe won their first match at the Bernabeu in 18 years. And so after the 90th minute, when you're in added time, so you had a bit of a coming together by both teams. Franco Mastantuono sent off in the 95th minute for dissent. And so the question that Arbeloa gets after the match, hey, is it over? I mean, and that's, you're looking for, certain media in these kinds of markets and these attached to these kinds of leagues are going to try and get you the question that is so off the rails all the way over to the other side to see if they can get you to give a response so that way they can feed their beast. Arbeloa's like, 36 points left. Nobody here is going to give up. 4 points is a gap we think we can bridge. And by the way, the knee sprain for Kylian Mbappe, no surgery is needed, according to Alex Kirkland. Getafe defeat the second in a row. They lose 2-1 to Osasuna back on the 21st. They also did not have Jude Bellingham today with a thigh problem. Madrid visit Celta de Vigo on Friday before hosting Manchester City Champions League round of 16 next week. So you got that to look forward to. Then Arbeloa said, we created chances to score. Can we play better? That's also true. I can't criticize the effort of the players. It's my job to improve the play of the team. Referees report said Mastantuono had been shown a red for shouting, "What a disgrace," twice at the official. Arbeloa said, I don't know exactly what happened, but he must have said something, and that can't happen. Getafe coach Jose Bordala refused to be drawn in on whether VAR should have intervened to review an incident in which Rudiger appeared to knee Diego Rico in the face. Remember our discussion about VAR from this morning with Bart. The video is out there, and all I'm going to do is say this. The video is out there, and legitimately, I think Rudiger should have gotten something. Because literally he knees Diego Rico, and I love the wire copy. Appears to knee the visitors Diego Rico in the face. Now he did it. He did it. That is easy. That is an easy one to sit there and look at. I'm gonna dial it up real quick, but I'm not going to share it because I don't want to get us to any kind of trouble. So if you look at the Rudiger Roja, okay, so you end up with a moment late. Players on his back. It was Lewis. Was it Lewis? Oh, no, it's not the first time. Okay, so it is. Okay, so in the 25th minute, player was taken down for Getafe, sliding on the turf. Rudiger goes down with his left knee onto the turf and then takes the same left knee after making impact with the left arm of the player. And then literally and I'm going to try and describe this. I'm going to try and describe this as neutrally as I can. So it's out there. 25th minute. Player goes down. Rudiger takes his left knee, hits Rios in the jaw with it on the way down. I need the taller angle. So Rudiger sees Rios is down, and so he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, stop Rios from moving. So Rudiger goes down with his left leg pins the left arm of Rios down, and he hits him in the left side of the face, hits him in the left side of the jaw, the left jaw, with his left knee, climbs over after the impact is made on Diego Rico. So left knee, pins the left arm for Rico down, hits him in the left side of the face with that knee, literally tries to pin him in place, and then as he tries to scale over the top of him, I would say that the first impact where he hits him on the jaw is tougher, but yeah, he takes his padded knee and shin and kind of grinds it a little bit. And once again, this is slowed down, and I've seen this about 15 times, and I'm trying to describe it to you. But yes, Rudiger pins Rico's left arm down, hits him in the left side of the face, then picks his left knee up again and grinds him almost with his shin pad and his knee from the same left knee. Kind of grinds him and kind of plants it on Rico's face, jams him back down to the turf a little bit, and nothing. Bordala said everyone saw it, but I won't talk about it. What we have to do is enjoy the victory. Now, the larger question will be for the Referees Association and the RFEF. Are you going to look at that moment, and are you going to retroactively punish Rudiger for what he did to Rico? We will see. Now, this is one where you really need an inside the VAR studio for La Liga. I want to know what the discussion was in the ear of the center ref with that moment in the 25th minute. I'd love to know. I would love to know what that was. If there was anything there with Rudiger, which there was, but I want to know what the booth thought about it, and I want to know what the AR thought about it, and I want to know what the center ref thought about it. It makes you wonder if in La Liga it's like it is in Major League Soccer, where you have a designated pool reporter who gets to ask the center ref a question about an event in the match. Who was the pool reporter at the Bernabeu today? Probably someone for the home team. He's like, nah, I'm not going to ask that question. I'm not asking that question. That's a silly question. So that would be the biggest stumbling block for me in this. A, is there a pool reporter for Spanish La Liga covering media? Is he a reporter in Madrid? And would that reporter basically block the notion of asking the man in the middle about why this wasn't adjudicated one way or the other? But yes, Rudiger takes his left knee, pins down Rico's left arm, then hits Rico with that left knee in the left side of the face, like right, literally on the jaw. Then, as Rico is going down, Rudiger tries to almost stay on his feet, but he uses Rico's person as a brace, basically. Takes his left leg and he kind of brushes with the shin pad across Rico's face. No foul, no call, no nothing. So keep an eye out for that. Inside the VAR studio in La Liga. That would be interesting. Keep an eye on the Finalissima and where it's going to be played. Obviously, once again, as we're discussing things in the Middle East, Finalissima is set to be played in the Middle East, scheduled for the 27th in Doha, Qatar. Traditionally, the game with the European champs and the Copa America winners is supposed to be at the Lusail. The Qatari Football Fed postponed all tournaments and matches until further notice. Argentina were also scheduled to play Qatar in a friendly on March 31st. CONMEBOL and FIFA have yet to make any official statements regarding what might happen with the match, possible change of venue, and neither the Spanish nor the Argentine football federations have said anything either. Spain coach Luis de la Fuente believes a change of venue would be the best decision. Talking to RNE Deportes, the solution, as I understand it, would be to find another venue if possible while the matches can't be played there. I think that's pretty much the direction the negotiations are heading. People are working on it at all levels. We know that talks are taking place. Negotiations are underway. The first priority, obviously, as a society, is to stop conflict. But once it's already in full swing, and we don't know how long it'll last. So Barcelona, Messi and friends, slated for the 27th, on Argentina and Qatar at Lusail on the 31st of March. Cristiano Ronaldo's club Al Nassr has seen their Asian Champions League matches postponed until further notice. They were scheduled to play on Wednesday in Dubai. And also keep an eye on the Formula One race. So there's a lot of stuff going on that you got to keep an eye on. So keep your head on a swivel. And once again, check your sources, check your sources, check your sources. Cesc Fabregas says he wants a little bombonera. Urged Como fans to turn Giuseppe Sinigalia Stadium into a little bombonera for the Coppa Italia tie against Inter. Facing the leaders in Serie A on the first leg of the semis. Tomorrow, Inter are the strongest team in the league. They have been for years, really, and have great players. We will try to put in a great performance, knowing their strengths and their few weaknesses, and we'll try to hurt them. Como, 5th in Serie A. 3 points behind Roma and the Champions League qualifying place after their home win against Lecce back on Saturday. Inter beat Genoa 2-0 at the San Siro, 10 points clear at the top. The Nerazzurri are still without Lautaro Martinez. Bastoni is available after suspension. Como pair Martin Baturina and Jaden Adai missed last weekend's win, but Asane Jao returned from his long injury layoff against Lecce and is in contention to play. So keep an eye on that one. That one's going to be a fun matchup. Fun matchup. Really looking forward to it. I also think that Cesc Fabregas is going to be pursued by anybody and everybody. Rightfully so. So getting into what to look out for there in Serie A and the Coppa Italia. Serie A, you have matches coming up this weekend. So the Coppa Italia is going to be the meat and the sandwich. So you have your semifinals. Tomorrow it's Como and Inter. Como is a plus 200. Draws a plus 240. Inter on the road in leg number 1 is a plus 133. Lazio on Wednesday, plus 240 at home hosting Atalanta, who is a plus 110. Your 90-minute draw is the same at a plus 240. So that's what you get for Coppa Italia. So that's your rundown of. Oh, I was going to do Scotland. So let me do Scotland. We had Old Firm on the weekend, and there was almost a fight with Martin O'Neill in the middle of it. So your results from the weekend, including Old Firm. Remember, they have the dreaded split that you have to keep an eye on, but Rangers and Celtic at a plus 270 in Old Firm. Nothing like Monday Night Football, huh? Noon on Monday. Noon on Sunday. Noon Sunday kick, Rangers and Celtic. I thought this was Tuesday for a second. So, noon Sunday kick, Old Firm, plus 270, draw at 2-2. Hibs draws Dundee FC at a plus 250, 3-3. Hearts beats Aberdeen 1-0 at a minus 217. And that was what happened on the weekend in the Premiership. So then you look at your standings, and it's still pretty jumbled, but Hearts has taken advantage over the last couple of weeks of what we've seen from Rangers, which has been 3 out of the last 4 draws. Hearts have won 3 of their last 4, and so their margin is back up to 63 points over 57. So it's a 6-point gap. Both teams, Hearts and Rangers, have played 29 matches. Celtic, third at 55. Motherwell unbeaten in 5, and they've won 3 in a row. They're at 53. Then you got your gap space. Hibs at 46, Falkirk at 42, and then the dreaded split. And unless something happens, Aberdeen is going to be in the bottom half. Aberdeen is going to be in the bottom half of the split because they are 13 points away from Falkirk and would have to fix their goal difference to get considered. Dundee is at 30 points. I mean, literally, it is a stark difference. Falkirk's at 42. Then you go to the half that is not the top half. Dundee's at 30. Aberdeen's at 29. Dundee United is at 30. Dundee FC is at 28. Aberdeen, by the way, has lost 4 of 5. St. Mirren is 10th at 24 points. Kilmarnock is 11th at 21. Livingston has only won once this season. 11, and 17. 17 losses in 29. They've drawn 11 times. Won only once. They're at 14 points. They've drawn their last 3. So if anybody wants to try to make a rush to the top half before the dreaded split happens, you got to get hot quick and not lose anything between now and decision day. Dundee United 12 back. Aberdeen 13 back. Dundee FC 14 back. So that's your dreaded split in Scotland. Aberdeen right in the middle of it. And so who knows if they're going to make it up to the upper half. One of these days we'll have Jarrett come back on and talk about the split and find out what he really thinks about the split. I'm just saying. But now it would be, Hearts right now. If Hearts won the league in Scotland, that would be crazy. Absolutely crazy. So Hearts, Rangers, Celtic. But really, Hearts plus 6. Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell all separated by 4 points. Hibs at 46, Falkirk at 42. I think Falkirk is safely in. Let me find out after what week. Split, schedule, Scotland. So let me see if they let us know the win. WHEN. So as of Scotsman.com, the final pre-split fixtures take place on April 11th. This was at the beginning of the season. So let me get something that's a little faster, more up-to-date. So, yes, that was when it happened. ScottishFootball.info. One team gets 20 home games. One team will get 18. 25th season where post-split fixtures have been played, curtailed early 1920 due to the onset of COVID-19. SPFL determined the post-split fixtures, balancing a range of guidelines to arrive at an optimal solution, according to our friends at ScottishFootball.info. 25 seasons, Aberdeen, Celtic, and Motherwell have been ever present in the top flight. Gretna, Falkirk, and Partick Thistle featured the fewest number of top flight seasons. Gretna once. And so you're looking at 6th place, and you're probably looking at 42 points. So you're looking at the 42 points marker for this. But as it appears, April 25, 26, May 2 and 3, and then the weekend after that. So according to the Scotsman and our friend Matthew Elder, the kickoff times have been figured out. Celtic have won 13 of the last 14, 6 points off the top. They'll have home matches against Hearts and Rangers after the split. They're trying to climb people. SPFL confirms final round of the top 6 matches taking place Saturday, May 16th. All games kicking off at 12:30. Bottom 6 played on Sunday, May 17. Kickoff time still TBA. Other post-split fixtures taking place on last weekend of April, first 2 weekends of May, and the midweek of May 12 and 13. Post-split fixtures and broadcast selections will be published following fixture round 33 on April 11 and 12. SPFL clubs involved in the playoff round of European competitions next year will again be able to postpone their Premiership round 3 fixtures without needing the agreement of their opponents. So what you're looking for, April 25th. Stop it. So April 25th, May 2 and 3, May 9 and 10, midweek, May 12 and 13. So that's your breakdown of the Scottish Premiership and the dreaded split. Used to prevent the need for a 44-game schedule. Where's the split here? Financial disparity, notes, scores, clubs, competition format. Okay, so contained 12 clubs since the 2000-2001 season. This is the education about the split. Longest period without change in the history of Scottish football. Split in 2 phases. Used to prevent the need for a 44-game schedule based on playing each other 4 times. Format was used in the Premier Division mid-'80s, early '90s. And now they think that it's too high a number of matches for a season. First phase, each club plays 3 matches against every other team, either once at home, twice away, or the other way around. After the first phase, by which time all clubs have played 33, top 6, bottom 6. Each club plays a further 5 matches, one against each of the other 5 teams in their own section. Points achieved during the first phase of 33 carried forward to the second phase, but the teams compete only within their sections during the second phase. After the first phase is completed, clubs can't move out of their own half, even if they get more or fewer points than a higher or lower ranked team, respectively. So, say Dundee, for the sake of argument, say Dundee United gets on a heater, but I mean, right now they only have 5 matches to figure out. I mean, they've got to win their last 5, basically. Hope Falkirk falls on their face to get in. I mean, Aberdeen has 5 matches. They're after match week 28 right now. Everybody, for the most part, is done at 28. You do have 2 in the current upper half and 2 in the current lower half that have played 29. So 5 matches or 4 left to figure out your final spot for the split. And if you end up with, you go to the split and then you win 13 out of a possible 15 points in the final 5 matches. So you get 13 points added to your total. As of right now, it still wouldn't be enough to take over Falkirk, considering all they would need to do is get 2 points. But literally, if you got on a heater and you were in the bottom half, you could not surpass the team in the upper half that might have lower points than you. It's just the fact that what you did in this half of the season helped you out to be the number 7 team as opposed to hopscotching in the middle of the competition to get back to being number 6. So there are 5 or 4 matches remaining to determine the dreaded split in Scotland. We'll see what it looks like. But right now, Hearts 6 points clear. Celtic 2 points behind Rangers. Motherwell 2 points behind them. So once again, 3 teams, 4 points, 2, 3, and 4. Hibs, I think it's safe to say that they're in. They played 29. So if Dundee United was to get all 15 points, they'd get to 45. So they couldn't even catch Hibs. Aberdeen's the same way. If they were to get their 5 matches in, they'd finish at 44. Wouldn't help. Dundee FC is at 28 points right now. And so if Dundee FC was to do something and they'd get on a heater and they run their last 5, they can only get to 43. So literally, you could run all day if you wanted to. If you were Dundee United, Aberdeen, and Dundee FC, you are not, in all probability, going to make it back into the upper half before they go to the split and determine who the best of the best is and the best of the rest. So it's probably not going to happen involving the split. But Aberdeen, who signed the deal with the ticketing company where Derek Ray thinks it'll be worth up to $3 million of extra added capital for Aberdeen using this relationship. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. And Aberdeen's going to probably be in the lower half because, once again, all Falkirk has to do is win 1 match. Falkirk wins 1. They're at 45. Dundee can't go any higher than 43. Aberdeen can't go any higher than 44. Dundee United can't go any higher than 45 and make up a huge goal difference. So Dundee would have to win out. Falkirk needs 4 points, basically. Hibs is untouched. If they were to lose their last 4, whoopee, not going to hurt them. So we kind of know who's in for the most part. So you're going to have your jockeying for position and trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen when you get Old Firm again or Hearts, Hearts going up against Rangers and or Celtic having to run through that gauntlet. Biggest thing for Hearts, take care of your business in your final 4 matches. Take care of your business. Get as much of a buffer as you can. They're playing Kilmarnock at Kilmarnock on the weekend. This should be 3 points for them. Rangers, by the way, gets St. Mirren, who only has 24 points. They've only 5 and 28. Celtic gets Aberdeen. And Dundee FC gets Motherwell. So it's kind of leaning into that right now in Scotland. So yes, the dreaded split is where we are. So that's the tour around the planet. And of course, now since we are in hour number 2, time for picks of the week, which means we get to hear the best baseline on this or any other planet. And you hit the right button, and this is what happens. All right, so picks of the week. Absolute picks of the week. Now, here's what happened last week. Last week, you ended up with a bunch of matchups, and I won here because Jason and Nick and everybody else has kind of just decided what Jason is going to plan, I think, toward the end of the regular season, I think, on the other side of the World Cup. He's going to do kind of like the sprint schedule for us. But until he gets there, Jarrett and I are just going to still compete, and anybody else that wants to continue to try and win on our end. I won. So I won, and there's my promo. Jarrett had a miserable week. It was Wrexham and Portsmouth, and Wrexham got the win. Wrexham is in the 6th spot. They are in the final spot right now in the EFL Championship. They're in the playoff promotion. They're in the playoff promotion spot number 4. Wrexham won, and I got that one, and so did Jarrett. And then it went off the rails for Jarrett for the rest of the time, I think. Well, part of the time. So Gimnasia and Rosario Central, I had Gimnasia winning at home. Rosario Central did 2-1, and so this is when my fall started. Then we went to La Liga 2, Albacete and Almeria, and Jarrett picked a draw at a plus 250, as you should have. And those odds, by the way, by the time they finished, were dead even. It was like basically Almeria finished at like a plus 145. We had it at a plus 170 because we have the show now instead of later. And Almeria ended up getting the draw. But once again, they were a plus 145 to win by the time the match was getting ready to be played. So Jarrett didn't get that one, and I didn't either. Then our second LPF match, River Plate and Bonfield, I thought it was going to be, too much angst for everybody at River. If you were watching it on Thursday night, late Thursday afternoon, fantastic scenes. And after the match was over and River had dispatched Bonfield, which meant that I lost, and Jarrett did not, at a minus 204. That the fans were booing the players as they were walking off the field, but they gave Gajardo all the love and flowers, and it was really cool. So I didn't pick River Plate. Jarrett did, and so he continued. Then you end up with Ligue 2, Red Star and Le Mans, and that was fun to learn about those two last week. I had the draw, as did Jarrett, at a plus 210. Then we went to Slovakia and learned about Michalovce and Kosice. And I had a draw to plus 250. I think Jarrett did too. And so we both lost because Kosice, who was the underdog in that match, won on the road 2-0. And then Liga Portugal, Vizela and Chaves, finding out about them. Vizela won a 5-goal thriller, 3-2. I had draw. Jarrett did not. And so in Major League Soccer, wrapping up the last one, Messi and friends going to Orlando, winning for the first time in 7. And it was 2-0 Orlando, and everybody's kind of going, uh-oh. But then it was far more than an uh-oh that was going on in that matchup. So if we look at things, so I ended up, let's see, plus 110. Then I lost Gimnasia, so that puts me at plus 10. I lost Albacete and Almeria, so that put me at minus 90. I lost Bonfield, which put me at a minus 190. Then I won Red Star, which got me back to plus 20. Then I lost Kosice, which got me back to a minus 80. And then it was minus 180 with Vizela, and then a plus 133. So I finished at a minus 47. So I finished at a minus 47. Jarrett goes Wrexham, Rosario Central, so he's at a plus 10. Loses Albacete and Almeria, so he's at a minus 90. Then he won River Plate. Then that got him back to plus 10 because it was a minus 204 when we talked about it. And then Jarrett got the win with the draw, so he was at a plus 220. Then he lost Kosice, so he was at a minus 20, or a plus 120. Then he got Vigela. So Jarrett won last week. So good for Jarrett. So Jarrett was at a plus 160, and then he had a plus. So Jarrett had a plus 293. So Jarrett wins at a plus 293, and apparently I screwed up the tiebreaker, because apparently some folks in the Discord went with Major League Soccer and other folks went with the Premier League. So Jarrett won the week, and huzzahs to Jarrett for winning the week. And so now it is time to go with the new round. And here's what we're going to do. Now, the question is, actually, I got to check. Let me do the Discord first. Let me go to the Discord and break down their week, because I did get sent the numbers. So it was Bam winning this week in the Discord. So Bam gets the huzzahs and hoorays. 1,291, 30 points ahead of Ricky. And no one got the prop bet. So now, 4-card, it looks like. So 4-card has closed the gap. So Ricky had, so it was a 30-point difference between Bam and Ricky. Bam won the week at 1,291. Ricky had a plus 1,261. Ricky in the rankings is now a little over 1,100 points, 1,118, I think. So let's see, 8. Yeah, I think it's 7. Oh, 1,030, 1,178 points ahead of 4-card. So Ricky's at plus 7139. 4-card is plus 5961. Then you have Will Secor at third. He's about 300 ahead of Bam and almost 500 ahead of Hutch. And then you have the second group. Turner is at 3,000. The OG is 56 and 23, 79 points, or 57 points. Wait, 56 and 23, 79. The Soccer for Good OG is 79 points behind Turner. And Kefsey and Cody are in a fight. Kefsey is 244 points ahead of Kefsey. Pars, Ropes, and Jordan did not participate, because I think Jordan is probably still stuck in the airport in St. Louis. So that is the rundown of where we are. Now it's 1,178, and apparently OG is going to cheat off of Ricky's paper. So that's where we are heading into this week. So now let's take a peek at what we are looking at this week. Now, here's what we'll do. And obviously we got to start it. We got to start it tomorrow. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then those other numbers that follow. Now, all right, so Tuesday. Let's see what we got here on Tuesday. And we can do a couple different things. We can go to the Premier League and do Bournemouth and Brentford. Bournemouth at the Vitality is a plus 154. Brentford a plus 170. And I think that's what we'll do. We'll start there with Bournemouth and Brentford. So Bournemouth and Brentford. Bournemouth the plus 154. Draws a plus 260. Brentford is a plus 170. And I'll go with I was going to go with Bournemouth at the Vitality, but let's check the midweek press conferences and see if there was anything to discuss. So Alex Scott is being predicted to have a decent day with more than 2 shots. But frankly, coming out of the midweek or coming out of the weekend to come and play in the midweek, what happened this past weekend, we'll use as a base. And see, so Bournemouth played Sunderland to a draw at home early Saturday. They were the early Saturday kickoff. So Bournemouth at least has had the chance to play at the Vitality Saturday, Tuesday. Brentford went through all of that craziness at Burnley. So I'm leaning Bournemouth here just because of the draw with Sunderland at home and then Brentford having to go through everything that they went through and having to go on the road again to play at Bournemouth and the Vitality tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. So 2:30 Tuesday. So tomorrow is the 3rd. So we'll go Bournemouth and Brentford, and I know I've vacillated and I apologize. But I'm going to go with Bournemouth because of all of the craziness. I think that Brentford runs out of gas late. No offense to all of our local Bees supporters. But I'm going to go with Bournemouth over Brentford just because Brentford will be just blank and tired. Absolutely blank and tired. So that's the first one. And obviously we're going to have to keep an eye out on a couple of other things. Do we go back to do FA Cup? Do we try to figure those things out? That's a part of it too. When we're going to be checking out all of those, and trying to find obscure leagues to look up. That is going to be the interesting part of this. So if Tuesday is the 3rd. All right, so here, all right, so if Tuesday is the 3rd, by the way, tomorrow's show is stacked. Dave Leno joining us at 9:30 in the morning talking Philadelphia Union. KCD joining us at 10. Ali Curtis, president of MLS Next Pro, is going to join us at 10:30. So stacked show tomorrow. And Chris Doran is set to join us at 9:05 on Thursday. So if Friday is what we think it is, okay. All right, so I've got that on Saturday. So Saturday we'll go here. All right, so that's one of my matchups. I'm picking countries as we go. So tomorrow we need something either Tuesday or Wednesday. Nothing going on in Brazil until the next weekend. And Serie B does not kick back in until later in the month. So when was the last time we were in Bulgaria? That's tomorrow morning. You're not helping. Ludigaret, you're not helping me any. People, come on now. All right, so if that's Saturday... Okay, well, we could do that one too. So and what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to write down matchups so I don't bypass them and get into those particular time frames. Okay, so still searching for the midweek. And this is where the fun starts. Trying to figure out who's going to be around in the midweek. So Friday. All right, so we could go there on Friday. Or do we want to, well, hang on. Do we want to go there or do we want to go, well, we don't have any choice if we're going to go there. Okay, so if we go there at that time. Okay, so remember that one. Do we have anything? Well, and that's a country that, and like I said, I'm buzzing through these countries trying to figure out, okay, what can we grab and go to places that we haven't been to in a while. Ooh, okay. So, all right. Match number 2. Going to Costa Rica. So we are going into the Costa Rican Primera on Wednesday, and it's Wednesday afternoon late. So this one might be on CATV if we can pick it up. Costa Rican Primera, Zeladon, and Liberia. The team, not the country. Zeladon is a plus 145. Draws a plus 220. Liberia is a plus 154. Looking at the standings, Zeladon and Liberia in the Clausura, it is 7 versus 8 in the Clausura. This is match week 10 in the Clausura. So we're reaching the halfway point of the Clausura in Costa Rica's Primera División. Zeladon is 1-5-3, scoring 9 goals in 9 matches, giving up 12. They've lost 3 of 4. Liberia, the team, not the country, snapped a 4-game losing streak with a win last time out. They are 2-2-5, and they are behind Zeladon in goal difference. And that is the reason that even with 2 more, that they have 2 wins compared to 1. If you have teams that have the same number of points, they go to goal difference later. It's like wins, doesn't matter. Total points, and then they go to goal difference. So that's why Liberia, even though they have 1 more win, and that was against Sporting FC last time out, they go to goal difference. Zeladon has a better goal difference right now, and that's why Zeladon is 7th and Liberia is 8th. So to find out about Zeladon FC, we're going to go and support our friends at the Wikipedias and find out what they have to say about it. So, Asociación Deportiva Municipal de Pérez Zeledón, based in San Isidro de El General. Their home stadium is Estadio Municipal Pérez Zeledón. Their nickname is Guerreros del Sur, the Southern Warriors. Founded in 1962, reached the 2nd division in 1976. Luis Orozco is their manager, and the capacity of the Estadio Municipal Pérez Zeledón in San Isidro de El General, Costa Rica is 6,000. In 1988, Asociación Deportiva Municipal Generaleña won promotion to the Primera. 1991, a second team from Pérez Zeledón, Asociación Deportiva Pérez Zeledón, also clinched the 2nd division title, prompting to merge the teams into ADM de Pérez Zeledón, which would represent the canton in the top tier. In 2010, Puma Generaleña was founded as successor to AD Generaleña. They won the Apertura in 2004-05 under the coaching of Carlos Restrepo against Saprissa. Defeated them. They defeated them in the Monsters cage, 1-0. Missed out on the overall championship title, losing to Alajuelense 4-1 in aggregate. Club's top goal scorer that season was Ever Alfaro. William Sunsing, Gainer Segura, part of the Ticos in their path to the 2006 World Cup. And so most of the roster is of Costa Rican heritage. They do have Luis Lopez, who is from Mexico. They have Jorman Aguilar from Panama, Joaquin Aguirre from Uruguay, Adan Climaco from El Salvador, Eduardo Pastrana from Mexico, and Manuel Moran from Panama. Christopher Solano is their highest numbered player, wearing number 70. They have 2 players out on loan. They won the Apertura 2017, beating Herediano. And back then, it was Jose Jacone Garita who was the coach. And so, Pérez Zeledón, that is what we know about them. The Guerreros del Sur, the Southern Warriors, founded 35 years ago. And they are going up against Liberia FC for the moment until we come up with an actual name. So, Liberia, Municipal Liberia. Rather ominous looking. They are playing in Liga FPD, team based in Liberia, Guanacaste. Their home stadium, Estadio Edgardo Baltodano Briseño. They are the Coyotes, the Pamperos, the Liberianos, or Los da Ciudad Blanca, those of the White City. 2007, well, so they were established in 1977, 48 years ago. In 2007, businessman Mario Sotella purchased the club, rebranding it as Liberia Mia, My Liberia, after a Sotella project located in Liberia called Africa Safari Adventure Park. So think of it like Lion Country Safari. During his management, led the team to their greatest achievement, won the Primera División Verano 2009 championship, also against Sotella Blen-managed team Club Sport Herediano. Jose Cardoso is the current manager. They were 9th in the Clausura in 26. So they got their first CONCACAF International Tournament appearance. They lost 6-3 in the aggregate to Real España in the preliminary round in the CCL. Early 2010, they rebranded as the Águilas Guanacastecas, or the Guanacastecan Eagles, due to conflicts with the stadium owner, and they were forced to play in different locations, the Estadio Cacique Diria in Santa Cruz and the Estadio Chorotega in Nicoya. Not improving, demoted to the Segunda, and after trading franchise rights with Barrio Mexico. Move was regarded by some as controversial since Barrio Mexico club president Minor Vargas allegedly also was involved with Liberia. In March of 2011, UNAFUT decided to expel the club due to financial difficulties, forcing the team to miss matches. Played under the name Barrio Mexico, the franchise belonged to Liberia Mia, franchise which had been loaned to Sotella for the Águilas Guanacastecas club in the second division, returned so Barrio Mexico could continue playing. Liberia Mia disappeared from the organized football scene. And then in 2009, once again, Liberia Mia won the Verano Championship out. Summer of 2011, Manrique Cibaja bought 80 Desamprados, rebranded them as Los Coyotes de Municipal Liberia. Club returned to the top flight in 15-16, relegated temporarily, came back to the Primera in 23. Stadium was built in 1970, and it is owned by the municipality of Liberia. 4,500 capacity, according to the Costa Rican Emergency Commission. And the natural grass surface was there to host the U17 Women's World Cup in Costa Rica back in 2014. Currently, once again, mostly a Costa Rican roster. Anthony Monreal is in net from Mexico. Eric Torres. No. Is that? Oh, is that? Is that Cubo Torres? Hang on just a second. We might have stumbled upon Cubo Torres here. Cubo Torres. Is it? No, he's at Sporting. Nuts. Sporting San Jose. So he is in Costa Rica, but he's at Sporting San Jose. Oh, man. That's close. We were close because I thought it was, when it said Eric Torres, I was like, wait a minute. And so Municipal Liberia. So it could be any one of 3 footballers. And it's well, actually, it's got to be one of 2. It's either, well, it might be. It might be Cubo Torres. We might have stumbled across Cubo Torres here. So let's go into Transfermarkt. Let's see where. Oh, it is. We have found Cubo Torres, people. We have found Cubo Torres. By absolute accident, we have found Cubo Torres. So right now, in the Clausura, 9 matches, 1 goal for AD Municipal Liberia. This has made my night. And this was after, in the Apertura, he played for Sporting, and then he has moved in the Clausura to AD Municipal Liberia. So in this season so far, in the Primera División, 10 matches for 80 Liberia, 1 goal. 9 matches in League, 1 goal. But in all comps this season in Costa Rica, 25 matches played, 6 goals for Cubo Torres. Yes, that Cubo Torres, the master of the dark arts like no one else. So we have stumbled across Cubo Torres. I can't believe it. On that alone, I'm picking Liberia. Liberia snapped a 4-game losing streak last time out. Zeladon has lost 3 of 4. And I think we're probably stopping right here with just the Municipal Liberia. And Cubo Torres, I'll be damned. That's awesome. So, Cubo Torres, we have found you and we are supporting you, sir. Cubo Torres. Ha ha. That's fantastic. So, I'm picking Liberia. I don't know about the rest of you, but it is strictly on the fact that they have Cubo Torres. That is fantastic. That has made my day. Absolutely has made my day. So, Cubo Torres, we have found you. 4 card. It bet it woke you up. Woke me up too. I was like, wait a minute. So, yes. So, our second match, Cubo Torres playing for 80 Liberia in the Costa Rican Primera, 7 versus 8 on Wednesday afternoon. Zeladon in Liberia. Zeladon's a plus 145 at home. Draws a plus 220. I don't care. I'm picking Liberia. 2-2-5. And they've got Cubo Torres. That is great. We learned about Municipal Liberia and we found Cubo Torres all in the same picks of the week. I knew there was a reason that we were here tonight. I knew there was a reason where we would sit there and we would look at Costa Rica. We found it. And we're there. Fantastic. Okay. That's tremendous. That is blanking tremendous. All right. So now, let's see what else we can get into here. I don't like those. Like I said, and I know where I'm going on a couple of others leading into the weekend, and those leading into the weekend will be kind of chill by comparison. So let's see here. I know we're going there, and I know we've gone there. We've been there a couple times. As like I said, I'm literally looking at it's like, okay, where can we go? Where can we go? Where can we go? We can't go there because their league has already played this weekend. So let's see. Can we go here? Can we go there? I'm looking for something on the 5th. I'm looking for something on the 5th to lead into Friday, because that's where it is on Fridays. 6th and the 7th, and so Friday is the 6th. Saturday is the 7th. Wow, none of those matchups are appealing at all in that league, so that's not going to happen. Let's see. What about here? Can we do something here? Give me some odds. So you tell me that you got 4 matches and then you don't have any matches. Well, we'll post odds when games are being played. You're not helping a man. You're really not. You know that matches are being played, but then you're not going to post anything until you have odds on said matches. That's not very nice. And I'm looking for things like in Kyrgyzstan to try and jazz things up a bit. But no, we can't have that. I'm literally looking at trying to see if there's anything as soon as bookmaker odds become available. You're not helping me. You tell me that there's action going on. I think it was. OG, I think you're right. I think it was Destiny. Dark Arts dark arts major, Cubo Torres. We found Cubo Torres for picks of the week. That is tremendous. I'm beside myself right now at how lucky we were. Go to Gabon. Okay, well, hang on, OG. Let me see. Well, Gabon doesn't have anything posted, at least where I'm going. I'm going off of our friends at Odds Portal, and I have not been able to. They're not helping. They're not helping folks out. They're really not. And let's see. So can we go here? Well, what about here? Can we go there? Well, we could, but it's at like different times, and the odds kind of stink. All right. Hang on. Because I know that the weekend we're going to kind of keep it close to home, so that's going to be pretty easy. You know, you're really chapping me now. It's like if we got 5 matches, we'll post them when we got matches. You suck. All right. Let's see. So hang on. Yeah, I know that you'll post these. All right. So what am I looking for here? Something. So Friday is the 6th. All right, hang on just a second. No, can't go there on Saturday. Can't go there. Actually, tell you what we're gonna do. Since we've been to the Premier League, 3rd and 6th, and okay, tell you what. All right, we're gonna go to League 2 in England for the only matchup of the day. EFL League 2 is pick number 3. 2:45 Eastern Time on Friday afternoon. Cheltenham Town and Barrow. Cheltenham and Barrow. We'll get into the backgrounds here in a sec. The Spirites, I believe, this Cheltenham Town. Cheltenham's a plus 140, draws a plus 210. Barrow is a plus 170. And in the standings right now, Cheltenham. Oh, that's right. Cheltenham is 18th, and they're at 36 points. There is a bit of a gulf between the teams that are at 500 or better, who are like at 44 points, basically 17th and up, and then the folks that are kind of fighting for survival. Barrow is in a relegation fight right now. Barrow is in 22nd of the 24 teams. They are at 27 points, and the only thing keeping them out of the relegation zone away from Harrogate Town is goal difference. They have a 9-goal difference on Harrogate Town, and they have scored 33, but they've given up 51. They have lost 4 of 5, and they are a slight underdog heading to Cheltenham. Cheltenham is 9 points better. Cheltenham really hasn't been doing themselves a whole lot of favors. Recently, they've drawn 3 of their last 4, but they're unbeaten in 4. And so Cheltenham right now, 36 points, 18th place. Barrow in a relegation fight. There are 4 teams separated by 3 points at the bottom in League 2. Crawley Town, Barrow, Harrogate Town, and Newport County. Newport County is the 3rd team in Wales that is in the EFL pyramid, by the way. But they are on the verge of getting relegated right now as things stand. 4 points, 4 teams, 3 points in the relegation battle in League 2. So Barrow has lost 3 in a row, 4 of 5. Heading to Cheltenham. Cheltenham needs the win to try to get closer and closer in this second group to give themselves a little bit more breathing room and stay away from relegation. So I'm going to go with Cheltenham here, even though it's on the plus side, but it's a good plus. It's a plus 140. So Cheltenham at a plus 140 over Barrow at home on Friday. So now, Friday night, this is where we go to the Chilean Primera. And so the Chilean Primera is pick number 4. 6:30 Eastern Time, Deportivo Concepcion and Nublense. Deportivo Concepcion is a slight underdog at home at a plus 170. Draws a plus 220, and Nublense is a plus 160. Looking at the standings, Deportivo Concepcion is in 15th. They are in the relegation zone, but they have just started this particular section of the schedule in the Liga de Primera in Chile. They have just started. And you could probably watch this on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. So in the Chilean Primera, Deportivo Concepcion has had not a good start. They are 1-1-3, but after losing their first 3, they have 4 points in their last 2 matches. But they're still in the current relegation zone. But still, it's early. You are literally 5 matches into 30. So 5 matches into 15. So Deportivo Concepcion, 4 points, but they've gotten them all in their last 2 matches. And they are a dog at home to Nublense. Nublense is out of the blocks. They're in 6th right now. And they are at 2-2-1, 8 points. They started out winning, or they unbeaten in their first 4. Then they lost last time out. And once again, they lost to Universidad Católica. Yes, you can see these matches on Fanatis, by the way. So Nublense, first 5 matches, they had a result in their first 4, lost last time out at home, and they're going to Deportivo Concepcion, where they are the favorite, however slight. 6:30 Friday night. I'm going to go with Nublense. So Nublense is number 4. So Deportivo Concepcion and Nublense. Let's get into this history lesson a little bit and find out about these 2 teams. I don't know if we can beat what we have with finding Cubo Torres. OG is locked into Gabon. I know. Well, I'm looking literally. I'm scrolling alphabetically, OG, and I'm trying to find something that will fit. And so the lower divisions in England, yes, it is a default. So Deportes Concepcion, sorry. Club Social y de Deportes Concepcion. Ooh, this is kind of wild. Okay, so we're going to look at this logo here. And I'm gonna share this logo. This is kind of what you call it. It is a bit on the psychedelic side. So here is the Escudo Deportes Concepcion logo. So this is them. It's got it looks like Lucky Charms almost, except it's got flowers with it. So Deportes Concepcion, thanks to our friends at Wikipedia. So that is their logo. That is Deportes Concepcion, who is part of the discussion. And Deportes Concepcion, it is, they are Conce, León de Colau, or the Lilas. I'm guessing they're the Lilacs or the León de Colau. They were founded in the Ides of April, 1966, as Concepcion Unido. Born as the Club Social y de Deportes Concepcion SADP. And Patricio Almendra is their current coach. Their stadium houses 33,000. Municipal Mayor Esther Roa Rebolledo. And inaugurated in 1962, main rival is Fernandez Vial, with whom it contests the Clásico Penquista, rivalries with Huachipato, Lota Schwager. Literally, that's what it says. Lotaschwager. Lota Schwager, a lot of swagger. Naval and Universidad de Concepcion. So they were started in 1966. Merger of several football clubs in the city of Concepcion, thus the Deporto. 4 separate clubs merged to create this club in 1966. And they joined forces to realize the ambitious project of having a representative team from the Biobío Basin within the Chilean football scene, joined by the sporting and financial support of the prestigious Lord Cochrane, a club from the very beginning. During a failed attempt in 1965, committed to the idea of incorporating a new club into professional football. Founded as Deportes Concepcion Unido, accepted 2nd Division, Ides of April 1966. Unido designation was dropped from the team's name in March 2nd of 1968. So consolidation in the 1st Division And they won the 1968 provincial tournament. They would repeat 1970, winning the Candelori Cup. Then the institutional strength of the club undertook the construction of its sports complex in Nonguen under the presidency of Vittorio Iaconi, had several successful seasons. Best regular season in the Chilean First Division to date was 1975. Relegated in 1981 to the second division for the first time. And they were there for 3 years. And then they were eventually brought back to the first division. Juan Carlos Almada's goal-scoring prowess, 5 appearances in the Pre-Libertadores playoffs. They qualified for the 1990 mini-tournament. The team was managed by Luis Vera in the playoffs. And in the 1990s, they had a strong performance on the national and international level. And then once that club kind of disintegrates, they were relegated again in 93, 3 wins in 30. Then they win the Primera B. They won the second division to come back in 94. Then they go to the Copa Libertadores for the second time in 2000. And then New Century 2003 back in Primera B. They were finished 5th. Then it was a 1-year ban on them during 2006 when they did not participate in Federation Championships. Then they go to the Chilean third division. Prolonged litigation, their tribunal decided on the return to the first division during the 2007 season because of a new operating structure. So then you have concessionaire problems in 2008, automatic suspension again, descending into the Segunda in 2008. Then they returned again for the Clausura in 2008. Then in 2010, new concession contract and transferring the sporting and financial administration of the club for the next 30 years. And they got the former general manager of O'Higgins. We saw them in the Libertadores group stage or qualifiers last week. 2010, back in the B, came back up. Then exile, crisis, and disaffiliation. Started the 14-15 season. Campaign affected by the news they would be temporarily unable to play their home games, which was undergoing repairs for use in the 2015 Copa America and the 2015 U17s. Played their home matches in 2015 in 7 different stadia for 52 matches in 910 days. First manager resigned after 12 matches after an offer from an Argentinian club. You had a fire break out at their sports complex. Basically, everything was destroyed. 2 interims managed the team in 14 and 15. Couldn't get to the Copa Chile in 15. The exile and the fire exposed the club's high level of nominal debt back in 2015. They had to get loans and some banks to help them out. And there was a vote of disaffiliation. It was so bad in 2016, there was a vote for disaffiliation. So basically, things were so bad that you had 90% of the folks wanting to kick them out of the league. And then you had a group of fans come back in 2016, reactivating the social club, the original institution of the team. They debuted again in the third division B. Then they go to third division A, back into the pros in 2019. So basically from, say, 2018, when they were in like the non-league structure, which is third division in Chile, they have come all the way back in 7 or 8 years to where they are now. The origin of their nickname, the Lion of Colau, is owed to legendary player Geraldo Peña, defender in the 60s and the 70s. On one occasion, the team was playing against Universidad Técnica del Estado. Team's coach said if we lost, it was because they had a lion in the middle of the field. Nickname coined by Luis Garcia Diaz for the Concepcion newspaper El Sur. They've identified with the nickname, even adopting the lion as the club's symbol. Purple uniforms, which look pretty cool, and a 30,000-seat stadium. So that is Deportivo and Nublense. I don't know if Nublense's story is as colorful as Deportivo Concepcion's, even though I am picking Nublense in this one. Or so it's wow, and it's a tilde on the end, so it's Nublense. the Diablos Rojos, the Red Devils, or the Longaniza Mecanica, Clockwork Sausage. Don't ask me why. The Clockwork Sausage is a part of the picks of the week, and that's why I'm picking them, because you got to be the Clockwork Sausage, you know? Estadio Municipal Nelson Oyarzun Arenas in Chillán seats 12,000. But the Clockwork Sausage, Nublense, that I don't think we need to go any further. The Clockwork Sausage. KFC, we're doing picks of the week. That's what's going on down here. And when we found out that Nublense was the Clockwork Sausage, we just stopped right there. 109-year-old club going up against Deportivo Concepcion, one of the most checkered clubs apparently in the Primera in Chile. And they are game number 4. Game number 5. In game number 5, we go to Bulgaria. We're going to Bulgaria for match number 5. Saturday morning. And it is 10:30 in the Bulgarian First Division. Botev Vratsa and Arda. Botev Vratsa is a plus 229. Draws a plus 179. And Arda is a plus 129. We got to find out about Botev Vratsa here in a second. Standings. This is the league that has Ludogorets Razgrad that we talk about every once in a while. Levski Sofia and Ludogorets are the class of the division. Botev Vratsa is 9th, and apparently they play the dreaded split in Bulgaria. They're at the top of the teams that would be in the lower half of the dreaded split. 23 matches played, 28 points. They have one less win than Slavia Sofia, and that is why they are 9th and not 8th. Remember, it's not goal difference. It is wins. That is your first category. So Botev Vratsa has one less win than Slavia Sofia at 28 points. They've got better goal difference, but because they have one less win, that's why they're 9th, top team in the lower half, and not in the bottom team in the upper half. And then Arda is 7th at 31 points. Arda is on the road, 8, 7, and 8 at 31 points. They have won 2 of their last 3 to get to 7th place. But you got 5 teams separated by 5 points to either get into the upper half or drop to the bottom half of the dreaded split in Bulgaria. So Arda has won 2 of 3. Botev Vratsa has drawn 4 of 5. I'm going to go draw, just because Botev Vratsa seems that they just want to kind of draw their way through life. Happy to be here. And they're all goalless draws. Wow. Wow. They have not scored a goal, and they haven't given up a goal in their last 3 matches. The one match that they lost was to Levski Sofia 3-1. But literally, outside of that loss to the top team in the table, they've drawn 4 out of 5, all by a goalless draw. Botev Vratsa apparently has one of the best defenses in the league. They have one of the worst offenses, but they got one of the best defenses. Their defense is tied for their defense is tied for 4th in the Bulgarian Premier, the top flight, because they have had 3 goalless draw shutouts in a row, and 4 of their last 5 where they've gotten points have all been goalless draws. Wow. I've never seen a run like that. So Botev Vratsa has tied for the 4th best defense in the Bulgarian top flight. But they ain't scoring for nothing. So I'm going goalless draw here just because Botev Vratsa is crazy good defensively, apparently. So Botev Vratsa. POFC Botev Vratsa. The Green Lions playing in Stadion Risto Botev, 105 years old, seated 8,900 and a capacity of 25,000. Club founded 1921, situated in the Risto Botev Sport Complex, which would make sense, eastern part of Vratsa. Initially, the stadium had 25,000. Recent reconstruction that took place 4 times since 2008. 9 reconstructed seated sectors, total of 8,935 seats. Founded 1921. Place of foundation is a playground near the old market in Vratsa. Various sport clubs were there from 21 to 56. Second division, top flight. Vratsa has played 788 matches in the top flight of Bulgarian football. Most glorious moment, 1971. Finished third in the top flight after CSKA Sofia and Levski Sofia, but they represented Bulgaria in the UEFA Cup when they lost to Dinamo Zagreb 8-2 on aggregate. Biggest success in the Bulgarian Cup semifinal 3 times. Relegated to the B group in 89-90. Returned in 2011. The green Botev is known as one of the green teams in Bulgaria, but red is just as characteristic in their club history. Until 1971, home colors were red and black vertical stripes. To commemorate the 50th anniversary, officials decided to rebrand the entire image of Botev, selecting green as the main color from 1972 on. Same time, club logo changed, and literally it's like one of those 8-bit green lions that's holding a flag. So I didn't want to show it. The portrait of Risto Botev himself was used as the club logo. Most rebranding in 2009, incorporating the original graphic with the new logo in 1971, crafted by lifelong fan Alexander Alakov. But yes, apparently having the 4th best defense in the blanking Bulgarian first division means to me it's a goalless draw. All right, and so now we go from Bulgaria to Belgium, but it's in the Challenger Pro League. So it is in the 2nd division in Belgium. 2:00 Saturday afternoon. In the Challenger division. And in this one, it is OC Charleroi, which sounds very French, and RWDM Brussels. How will RWDM Brussels, tied to our friend John Texter, how will they respond on the road at OC Charleroi? I just realized that it was RWDM Brussels that I was picking. So in this Picks of the Week, we found Cubo Torres, and we're picking John Texter's Eagle Football Holdings 2nd Division club in Belgium. I'm picking Charleroi just on premise. Don't care what the numbers are. Even though OC Charleroi is a plus 140, draws a plus 225, and RWDM Brussels is a plus 150. No offense to our friends who are the players for RWDM Brussels, but I'm going Charleroi. So Charleroi is the pick for that one. That is pick number 6. Okay. Now, 2 more picks, and I think we're going to stay fairly domestic for these. I think we are. So, afternoon and evening for what we're looking at with Major League Soccer. We'll go here. And actually, we could do that one because it's a later start. So, on Saturday afternoon, we'll start with one of the leadoff games in Major League Soccer at 2:30, technically 2:40. So it does happen behind our Belgium 2nd Division match. New England hosting Houston. Revs are a plus 140. And they've had problems. Draws a plus 250. Dynamo are a plus 175. Don't know if they have challenged. Don't know if they have challenged as of yet the red card for Roberto Carlos. I imagine that they will, or maybe they won't this early in the season. So we'll see what it looks like for Ben Olsen going on the road to the Revs. And with the draw being at a plus 250, I think that's where it's going to go. So I'm going to pick draw in that one. So we got 7 down and we got 1 more to go. And so we're checking to see if we can find something on the 8th. So we're looking for something on the 8th or like overnight on the 7th and seeing if we can come up with something. You want to go there? Do we have anything there that's worth a thing? Plus, plus, plus. Nope, those stink. I know that OG is probably going all over SofaScore trying to find anything that can be found. Can we go here? Like I said, we're looking for something either late on Saturday night or something on Sunday. So let's see. What do we have here? Do we have anything? Oh, we could. What can we go there? Nah, margin's too big. Okay. No, the margin there is too big because I was going all the way over to the Far East trying to find something. So I'm looking for something on Sunday. We haven't been to Liga MX in a while. Now we haven't done Liga MX in a bit. But those games stink. Toluca Juarez and Tijuana and Santos Laguna. Those are two big underdog games. No. And so Kefsi and the OG are discussing Charleroi. And do we want to go? Let's see. Can we get something here? No, that was a thought. Like I said, late Saturday night is what we're looking for, or on Sunday, because Sunday right now is wide open for us. And trying to see. Okay, all right, here we go. Got it. Ligue 1. All right, so game 8 is Ligue 1 on Sunday at 12:15 Eastern Time. Nice hosting Rennes. Nice is a plus 175 at home. Draws a plus 260, and Rennes is a plus 150. Standings with Nice and Rennes. Rennes is in 6th. They've won 3 in a row. They're at 40 points behind Lille on goal difference. So they have an out. So right now they are in the Europa Conference League spot in Ligue 1. So we have Rennes on the road as a favorite at Nice. Nice is lost 2 of 3, and the other 3 are draws. Nice is 15th, but they do have some space between themselves and Auxerre for the relegation playoffs. So Nice, 15th, 24 points. They've lost 2 of 3, hosting at home. And they're a dog to Rennes, who is in the Europa Conference League spot right now at 40 points behind Lille in conference. Rennes is a plus 150. I'm going to go there. All right, so to recap the matches. Premier League, Bournemouth and Brentford tomorrow, 2:30. Wednesday, 5 o'clock, Costa Rican Primera, Perez Zeledon and Liberia FC, and we found Cubo Torres. League 2 is match number 3, Friday afternoon, Cheltenham Town and Barrow. Match number 4, Friday night, 6:30 Eastern, Chilean Primera, Deportivo Concepcion and Nublense. When you're the Clockwork Sausage, you got to pick that one. Match 5, Bulgarian First Division, Botevratsa and Arda. The 8-bit Lions, I guess, against Arda at home. I'm picking a draw. Match number 6, involving John Texter's second division Belgium team. We're going the other direction on premise. New England and Houston, Major League Soccer, to kick off match week number 3. So we can put that one behind us in picks of the week, and we can all focus on Atlanta United and RSL. And then Ligue 1, Sunday afternoon at 12:15, Nice and Rennes. So now, tiebreaker. Tiebreaker is going to be Liga MX. Liga MX, we're going to go total number of. Actually, tell you what, here's what we're going to do. Which day on the weekend? Actually, tell you, let's do this. So for Liga MX, how many goals will be scored on Saturday's 5 matches in Liga MX? Cruz Azul, Atlético San Luis, Querétaro, Club América, Pachuca, Puebla, Atlas, Chivas. Ooh, super classico. Close to it. And then Tigres and Monterrey to finish things up at 10 o'clock. Cruz Azul, Atlético San Luis, Querétaro, Club América, Pachuca, Puebla, Atlas, Chivas, Tigres, and Monterrey at 10 o'clock. The 5 matches in Liga MX, how many goals are scored? I am going to go with 24. I'm picking chaos on Saturday in Liga MX. I'm going to go 24. So that is the rundown of the matches. It's the rundown of the stuff. And that gets us ready for another week of Picks of the Week, where we found Cubo Torres and we found the Clockwork Sausage. I can't thank y'all enough for hanging out with us as you always do. And it is great to see OG, great to see Kefsey, and great to see, I saw that D. Graham was in early. And so let's see who else was in here. Oh, SMCCC 18. Yeah, it is very bad. And by the way, SMCCC 18, don't be a stranger. We're here, depending on where you are on the planet. We start 8 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. We go 8 to 10. I talk a lot. We go past 10 o'clock. I mean, the second hour of the show is always our Picks of the Week segment. So good to see OG, who wanted us to go to Gabon. 4-card, Ricky, D. Graham, and SMCCC. Glad SMCCC. I'm going to bring you in here. So you're already up. So SMCCC 18, good to see you. Don't be a stranger. This is where we are every single night, every single Monday night. We're live with the morning show, 9:05 a.m. Eastern time with me, Monday through Friday. Usually go 2 hours, maybe more. Tomorrow, once again, on the morning show, coming up in 11 hours or 10 hours and 57 minutes. Dave Leno, the play-by-play voice of Philadelphia Union, 9:30. Casey White joining us at 10. Allie Curtis, president of MLS Next Pro, is going to join us at 10:30. And that'll be the show. And then it is Jefferson and Johnson, Gainesville. That is going to be on the network, 5:30, 7:30. Drew Dickinson and I will have the call for you there. We're going up to the dungeon to call those. And we're going to be back at it again on Tuesday. So another big day for us at SDH. And thanks for dropping in, as you always do. We found Cubo Torres, and we found the Clockwork Sausage. Kefsey, I'm going to have to so you're to demand respect on La Porte en Français. Okay. So you're demanding respect, or the usage of respect. And you're going to have to help me out with the rest. With unless it's the picks, unless it's like the Picks of the Week or something. Yes, I accept. Goodness gracious, stop it. So, no, not what I was looking for. And I imagine the distance between French show inconvenient. Good Lord. I cannot do anything in French. Can't happen. I can't speak. I mean, I could read it, but I can't speak it. And I have no earthly way to be able to produce a show. Like I said, I can say it phonetically. I can come pretty close, but there's no way I could ever do a show in French. There's no way. So we can do French, Matt. We can do. I can't do Flemish either. OG's, it's like, hey, OG, can you do it in Flemish? No, I can't do it in Flemish. I can't do it in Flemish. So, so apparently, Kefsi and the Saga for Good OG want me to do it in French or Flemish going forward. That can't happen unless someone else knows French or Flemish and can give a subtitle and can give like uh, a translation running underneath. We have like our translators, like you put on the headsets, like they do at the UN, and you hear it in your native tongue, or in the tongue that you want. You can like hit a switch and go like French or Flemish or whatever. So we don't quite have what the UN is capable of doing yet. We're working on it. Let's see if we can get it in the budget. But as always, once again, thanks to all of y'all for coming in, and back at it again 9:05 in the morning. And we found Cubo Torres and the Clockwork Sausage. I think that's a success when it comes to picks of the week. Play it safe, everybody. Mucha Plati. We'll see you in a little less than 11 hours. Since it's the end of the show, here's where I say thanks. We'll see you soon.